Earlier today, Jerry Jones was on 105.3 The Fan, and he was asked about the article that came out from ESPN earlier this week, where former Cowboys players seemed a little bit disgruntled with the way that tours had been taking place at the Cowboys practice facility and seemed to see it as a distraction during their time with the Cowboys. And Jerry Jones was asked about that article today, and I want to play here his response. So this is earlier today on 105.3 The Fan.
In the past, but ESPN put out the article about the tours with Schultz, Kurse, Armstrong, Fowler, and then even CeeDee Lamb was asked about the tours at the Star, if they're a distraction, and he said sometimes. Does that give you pause at all, or not really?
Not in the very least, and I'm not trying to be cute here. When that writer was interviewing me to write that article, I really told her, I said, I'm so happy you're writing this article because it will increase our tours significantly. More people will come to the tour.
Okay, first off, honestly, that when I heard that, I think it's funny. I think Jerry Jones is pretty funny sometimes, unintentionally funny, because I think any other GM owner, because Jerry Jones, sort of operates in both roles, would probably not want to have, these negative type articles that could, paint a team in a bad light out there. Jerry Jones is the opposite. It seems like, he's like whatever kind of press it is, whether it's negative, whether it's positive, that's awesome because people are talking about the Dallas Cowboys. And that seems to be how he's always, operated the Cowboys. It's why they're one of the most popular fan bases in the NFL. But here's the rest of what he said.
And so please write the article. I want you to really go into it in depth. And when you do, I want to point out to you that since we have expanded or elaborated the tours, since we moved from Valley Ranch to the Star, that we've gone from the 6th winningest team in the NFL to the 4th winningest team in the NFL. But I want you to know that while we had all of those tours before we moved to the Star and had people in and out there and had what you would call disruptions, we were the first team to ever allow cameras, ESPN, in the draft room. And I've always been such a significant pusher for more fan accessibility, more fan visibility. Our players have helmets on, unlike some sports. And so it's great for the fans to get in and see all these nuances. When we basically during the off season, when the league does those shows, I always have the Cowboys up there front and center if you can, because that leads to interest. I put the Cowboys in every house organ. I put it in every pad and tablet. I put it in every magazine I can, because I don't know that I'll make them fans, but when they do look at it, hit the television, they usually have a little more interest in the Dallas Cowboys. That's actually foolish to think that some kind of tours would impact the players. Now, I like what Michael Parsons says. I like what Dak Prescott says. I like what Ferguson says. Now, those guys, we all recognize them and realize they're competitors. And they laugh at the idea that some kind of tour or something going on would impact their play. As a matter of fact.
Okay, so that's the main portion of what he had to say in that interview on 105.3 The Fan. And I think when you look at the Dallas Cowboys over the past 20 years, yes, they haven't really found playoff success, but I do wonder, how much of that is Jerry Jones's fault. Does he deserve some of the blame? I would assume so. But when you have some teams in the regular season that go 12-5 3 straight years, and the Cowboys offense number 1 in 2023, 4 in 2022, first in 2021, then the defense the past 3 years outside of this year, fifth and 7th in points allowed. I just don't know how that's Jerry Jones's fault when you get to the playoffs and you've had a team that's playing at a top 5 level on both sides, and then you fail to find success. The team was in place to be able to have playoff success, maybe outside, a few players. But when your team doesn't show up, that was showing up all season long, I don't know how much blame goes on to Jerry Jones. And sure, maybe he could have made some better decisions. He could have put some better pieces that would allow them to find more success in the playoffs. But no GM is going to be perfect. Some GMs are going to make misses. And I think that Jerry Jones, because he's so outspoken and always making public comments, he gets much more heat when things go south because he is the guy making a lot of decisions. He is the owner. And I'm not saying that he doesn't deserve some of the blame. He definitely does deserve a little bit of it. But I just have been contemplating, how much is it really his fault and how much is it the fault of the Cowboys players who just have failed to show up come playoff time? Maybe it's a coach problem as well. I think that it's not just one problem. I think it's probably multiple issues with the organization. But Jerry Jones is all about getting press, getting attention, and I agree with the tours. I mean, I don't think it's that big a deal. Sure, it can maybe lead you into questioning more of the overall makeup of the way the Cowboys are run that's sort of different than other organizations. And if Jerry had been a typical owner, had hired a GM and been less hands-on, would the Cowboys have found more success? It's possible, but at the same time, when you compare the Cowboys to tons of other teams around the NFL, and you look at, just regular season success and even making the playoffs, they've made the playoffs at a somewhat high rate, I would say, comparatively to the rest of the NFL. It's not like the Cowboys are consistently one of the worst teams in the league. Lots of times they're always in the mix come late in the season, and sure, they need to find a way to find playoff success, and I don't know what the answer is. I think this season, a lot of it does come down to the Cowboys not making certain moves. Jerry Jones waiting a long time to give Dak and CeeDee Lamb his contract, but I did find that funny that Jerry's like, what? I love that they wrote that article because it's going to increase our tours, which no doubt now everyone's like, oh, the Cowboys have tours. People who didn't know, they may want to come see it now. And so Jerry Jones sounds like that was a successful marketing campaign for the Dallas Cowboys, even though it sort of seemed to paint them in a negative light. But if you guys want more Cowboys content, feel free to subscribe down below, and I'll see you guys next time.